Okay, guys, we're back for another quick episode of Shadowscape. Now, we were in the Deadlands, but now we're at Shadowscape. Let's update the picture. There we go. That's the Shadowscape Kingdom. At least that's what it could look like. Fortified walls, large castle in the center, surrounded by a city with its own little inner city for the upper class. Okay, I have expanded on the lore of Shadowscape. I got the characters lined up here, at least from what I recall, who we met. King Roland, slight adjustment to his name with a Y there. He's the ruling monarch. He looks like Sean Connery. There's Farah and Purcell. These were Rayla's parents. We met them earlier in this adventure. There's Scroll. He's a king's sketchy royal council. He looks like Peter Lorre from the old Addams Family show. And there's Captain Savory, the king's highest ranking official, or I should say officer. He looks like Idris Elba. The city itself has a population of roughly 20,000. The governing style is a ruling monarch, and alignment is neutral. They're mostly a trade route. So, our party approaches the entrance, and we have to figure out a few things. We have to tie up a few loose ends. Here is the problem. We got Wolf, we have Rayla. Both are generally welcome to the kingdom. Garlax is allowed inside, but he's not exactly respected. Savory is banned from the kingdom itself. Now, this whole time, Savory could have been an NPC. We didn't necessarily need to have a character card created, but I thought it would have been easier just to have the four-party system, the four-player character system. Savory, Sarv, my apologies, Sarv, after going through all that trouble, having that discussion with Wolf, he decides to split. He acknowledges it's not worth it. He has his freedom. He's thankful for that. It took some convincing. But he didn't get his award, or he didn't get the jewel he wanted. So he's going to leave the party. So as they reach the castle doors, he walks up to Rayla and says, well, I guess this is where, once again, we say our goodbyes. Rayla kind of shrugs and looks away. Sarv walks up to Wolf, stares at him. He says, well, after everything that we just experienced, I guess I could have been dead or imprisoned. Either way, I don't have my jewel. So then he goes up to Garlax and says, I liked you the most. Then he takes off. So Sarv bids farewell in his own manner and leaves the party. He is no longer with the team. He goes due west, back, or let's say he goes east, this direction. He goes around the castle. So I'm going to write here, this is worth 2-star moments, that Sarv departs the team. We no longer have a fourth player. Wolf doesn't exactly maintain. It's not very consistent um, in his membership program for the party. We've lost what, 3 individuals so far? 1 died, 2 just left. But again, that's fine. So Wolf watches Stark walk off. Rayla doesn't exactly show any emotion. Garlax sheds a tear, surprising both Wolf and Rayla. All right, back to business. They enter the main walls. As you can see in the picture, that entrance right there in the very middle behind Rayla's head. now inside of W13, which is 1, Shadowscape. Last time we were here, it definitely took a few episodes of time. So currently it's 4 p.m. And what I will do is take away a ration. Wolf is down to 1. Rayla is down to 1. And so is Garlox. The team, the party, walks up to the center castle where King Roland is. And as expected, there are 2 guardsmen. But behind the main gate, Scroll is talking with Captain Savory. And they are talking very quietly. The 2 guardsmen have their halberds blocking the door, and as procedure calls for, one of the guards says, "State your business." Wolf says, "We are with the king. We have returned with another one of his items." Something to that effect. The guards acknowledge Wolf. Maybe the team should have a name. Let's consider this. Let's retcon a few things. And let's just call ourselves Team Wolf. I think I had a name, I just don't recall. But I'm going to call it Team Wolf. That is the name that the king has given us. We kind of have a special convoy. So Team Wolf. Just write this down for the king. For the king. So Wolf says, "We are Team Wolf, returning to see King Roland." Now the guards look back, and one of the guards nods to Captain Savory. Scroll rushes back inside. Captain Savory we saw earlier, a couple episodes ago, out in the Deadlands. He walks back, goes up to the gate, but doesn't open it. He says, "Took you 3 long enough? I see your friend has departed you." Wolf says, "Yes. As you mentioned, he's not welcome here. We have went our separate ways, but we are not here to talk about that. We are here to talk to the king. Now, I want to try something here. Is the king present? I don't know. Let's roll 2d6. Blue, yes. Red, no. I want to possibly cause some discovery here. He is. But with this very small window, he is very busy. King Roland is occupado with a very urgent issue. So, write that down here. The king is busy. Wolf says, "Captain, with all due respect, we have traveled far, dealt with monstrous dangers, near death. We need to see the captain. You know who we are." I'm going to roll for this. So, this is willpower, but he has leadership. Kind of that commanding force. So this will cause 2d4. Looking for my other d4. And a d6, which is I'm going to do in this episode. This might be the only roll, though. The wild die, as from Savage Rolls. Okay, so we'll take the highest roll. and add the next one below it. So 4 is our goal, and our wild die is a success. He is able to convince the captain with his confidence, his stature, and gripping the sword. Not as a threat, but more of dominance. Rayla Garlax are kind of impressed by this display of force. The captain takes a deep breath, and he tells his guards, just nods at them, and they open the gate doors. The party walks inside. Now the captain tells Garlax to wait here, and Rayla, I'm sorry, I almost forgot about that. He tells Rayla and Garlax to wait here, but Wolf intervenes and says, "Look, I understand that typically only I am welcome inside, but we are officially the king's trusted Team Wolf." Sorry, that makes me laugh. We are all going inside, not just me. And this probably will get some extra brownie points for both Rayla and Garlax. The captain doesn't want to really dispute this. He'll let it go. He says, "Fine, but don't do anything stupid. The king is very busy, and he has short impatience." So Wolf understands, and they continue inside. So they get inside the building, they get inside the castle, they walk up the stairs, blah, blah, blah. They get to the private quarters. It's kind of a little office. Typically, they haven't seen the king here before. They typically see him in his throne. He is surrounded by multiple public officials. Captain walks in. The captain's the highest ranking official or public officer of this location. And the king notices Team Wolf. He tells the captain, "Captain, I appreciate you bringing in the Team Wolf, but as you can see, I'm quite busy. Can they wait outside?" The captain turns to Wolf and then speaks back at the king. He says, "I apologize, my liege, but they have something for you." Wolf pulls out the stone, the Firestone. So they meet with him with the Firestone. The king is surprised by this. He says, "Impressive." He looks to his council. He looks to his officials, like his noble houses, and he tells them, "Excuse me, everyone. Please give us 5 minutes. This won't take long." They all leave the room. The captain stands there at the door. They all walk out. And the king notices Rayla and Garlax. He says, "Captain Savory, you know the rules. In a convoy and an organization of my only one representative can be in this room." The captain tells the king, "My apologies, sire. They were very persuasive." The king sits down at his desk, and there's a big map of Exeter in front of him with little figures and kind of location markers. And or I should say, Rayla is noting all this. So we're going to do a roll here. They slowly walk up to the desk. Wolf is focusing on the king. The captain remains back. Garlax is just kind of standing to the side, not really taking notice of the big table of the map. But Rayla notices just because she fits that criteria. And what I'll do here is roll for her path of tracker, and I'm going to roll her willpower to surprise as a d4, but that's the case. So 2d4, the highest roll plus the highest d4. So it's kind of like an advantage roll. So 5 is a success, plus 2, that's over 4. Okay, so what she notices is that the map details positioning of armies. She sees briefly, it wasn't like if it was a double raise, then like if it was an ace and then another raise, she might have noticed the certain like locations of the actual positionings of these armies, but she only notices the positioning of there are several tokens on the table. So I'm gonna write this down here. Rayla notices a war map with military positioning. She's gonna remember this. She pulls out her Polaroid, takes a picture using magic. I'm kidding. So Wolf puts the stone on the table, right in the middle, ignoring the map of all the details. The king takes the stone. He laughs. He says, "All of that, the Tower of Purge. You were able to retrieve this within a day's time. Very impressive, Wolf. I think it was a day's time. I might be wrong. But etc. Etc. Whatever the time length it took there contextually. It's a very impressive, Team Wolf. Here's your reward." He looks to Scroll, who kind of pops out of the shadows, and Scroll comes out with another bag of gold. He gives the team 500 gold. So Scroll gives 500 gold. I will give each. Let's see, there's three of us, so we'll do 2, 4. Let's see. Okay, so it's like 167 rounded is three half of a third each of 500. So we'll do 150, 150, 300, and then 200 for Wolf as the leader. Yep, that works. Okay, so Wolf will get 200 gold, and then 150 for the other two. 400 total for Rayla. I gave her an extra gold piece. And then we have 235 total for Garlax. Garlax is smiled as he sees all that gold as they disperse it. Narratively, they probably disperse it after they leave the room. But the king, Wolf says, much appreciate, or Wolf says, we appreciate the business. Now, we must speak to your healer if you have one, because Rayla is hurt. The king looks to Scroll. He says, "Scroll, show my friends here to the barracks or some room that has potentially has herbs and healers. Maybe Scroll can handle it." So Scroll escorts them out the room. The king does tell them before they leave, "Team Wolf, do not go far. I have another mission for you." And then they leave the room. Captain remains inside the room. They leave, and now they go towards Scroll's private quarters. His own little laboratory has a bunch of like herbs and potions, and he gives the team. He stocks the team up with some potions. So he'll give Wolf. Let's see. Let's do 2 potions, and then some rations. He'll give him 3. He'll give Rayla 1 potion, and then another one to heal herself back to 8. Okay, then rations for her. They're basically just stocking up. This might not be all from uh, Scroll's lab, but I'm going to just assume, generally speaking, from a macro perspective, this is what they're recovering from their time inside the castle. So 2 potions per. Okay, they're all healed up. Now, Scroll advises them to wait downstairs in the main foyer. The king or Scroll, they will be seen by someone soon. So the team walks downstairs, and we have completed our second quest for the king, which means before I conclude this episode, it is time to advance. to level up. Like I said, this is a milestone basis. All right, first is going to be our friend Wolf. He's going to be level 3 now. Level 3 is plus 2 max health, which is 12. I will give him a heal of 12 total. We're back to 12 now. Pick one attack bonus plus 1, gain a new path, or gain a spell slot. I'll do 2 attack bonus. All right. Next is Rayla. Finally gets to level up after several systems. Hers, level 2, is plus 2 max health and a heal. Okay. Let's see. Plus 1 to attack bonus, ability bonus. We'll do that. Oh, actually, ability bonus. So I get to increase a die. Let's do the willpower to D6. I'm not sure I did it right for Will. Attack bonus plus 1. Yep, okay, so I did it correctly for Wolf. And there you go. Then we'll do Arlax. He is also level 2. And he gets plus 2 max health, and I will also increase his current health. Then for him, plus 1 dice increase. Let's do willpower to D6. So there we go. Our team has leveled up. Wolf is in the lead, if you're counting, if you're considering it like a race. And we still have the remaining 2 bennies. What to do with these 2 bennies? Because remember, it resets 3 after your completion of a quest. Tell you what, I'm going to reset it back to 3. Now, for our next quest, if we get one, bennies can only be used if they're on a quest, not when they're exploring, etc. That's my house rule for this fusion dance of maze rats and salvage worlds. So, really, that's it for the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. This one was more narrative, more roleplay. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.